What if the sun suddenly vanished? Imagine stepping outside tomorrow morning. You glance up at the sky, expecting to see the first light of dawn. But instead, there's nothing.
No sonrise.
No warm golden light spreading across the horizon.
No glowing clouds.
No sun. At first, it feels impossible. The sun has risen every single day for over 4.5 billion years. Long before the first dinosaurs walked the earth. Long before the first humans ever existed. For all of recorded history, it has never simply disappeared. And yet, what if it did? Not tomorrow. Not billions of years from now, when it naturally reaches the end of its life. But right now, this very second, what would actually happen? Would the Earth freeze instantly? Would gravity suddenly disappear? Would humanity have any chance of surviving? Or would everything we have ever built vanish along with the light? Surprisingly, the answers are far more fascinating than most people imagine. Because the end of the sun wouldn't begin with fire. It would begin with 8 minutes of complete normality. You wake up. People drive to work. Children walk to school. Airplanes cross the sky. The world continues exactly as it always has. Nothing feels different. Nothing seems wrong. Because even if the sun vanished this very instant, Earth wouldn't know it yet. Sunlight doesn't travel across space instantly. It moves at the fastest speed the universe allows, about 300,000 kilometers or 186,000 miles every second. Even at that incredible speed, light still needs about 8 minutes and 20 seconds to travel from the sun to Earth. That means the last rays of sunlight already on their way would keep racing through space, completely unaware that the star which created them no longer exists. For 8 minutes and 20 seconds, life continues as normal. The entire human race goes about its day, unaware that everything is about to change forever. Then, the countdown reaches 0. The final photon arrives. And in an instant, the sun disappears from our sky. Day turns into night. Not the soft darkness of sunset. Not the deep blue of twilight. Absolute darkness. The sky becomes black. The moon no longer shines. The planets vanish. Only distant stars remain, scattered across the sky like frozen points of light. For the first time in human history, the world experiences true daytime darkness. Within seconds, millions of people pull out their phones. Social media erupts. Live streams flood the internet. Astronomers desperately search for an explanation. Governments scramble for answers. Powerful telescopes point toward the empty place where the sun should be. But the silence of space offers none. Then, 8 minutes and 20 seconds after the last light reaches Earth, something even more terrifying happens. The sun's gravity disappears. Just like light, gravity doesn't act instantaneously. It also travels at the speed of light. The moment that final gravitational signal passes our planet, Earth is no longer orbiting anything. Instead of circling the sun, our planet shoots off into space in a straight line, carrying the moon and all of us with it. The solar system, as we have always known it, is over. And yet, as terrifying as that sounds, drifting endlessly through the darkness isn't humanity's greatest problem. The real nightmare has only just begun. The last 8 minutes of sunlight. For 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Nothing changes. The sun is already gone. But Earth has no idea. The last photons that left the sun before it disappeared are still racing toward our planet at the speed of light, carrying what will become the final sunrise in human history. People laugh. Traffic fills the streets. Coffee shops open their doors. Stock markets begin another ordinary day. Across the world, billions of people continue living their lives, completely unaware that they are witnessing the final moments of the civilization they know. The irony is almost impossible to comprehend. Humanity is living through its last normal morning, without realizing it. Then, the final ray of sunlight reaches Earth. In an instant, daylight disappears. There is no fading sunset, no orange horizon, no slow transition into twilight. One moment, the world is illuminated by the brightest object in the sky. The next, it is gone. A darkness unlike anything humanity has ever experienced sweeps across the planet. This isn't the darkness of night. At night, the moon reflects sunlight. The planets still shine. The atmosphere scatters faint traces of light across the sky.
But now,
The source of that light no longer exists. The moon becomes a dark, lifeless sphere. The planets vanish into the blackness. Only distant stars remain, their light having traveled for years, centuries, or even millions of years before reaching Earth. For the first time in human history, the daytime sky looks like deep space. Within moments, panic begins to spread. Millions of people stop where they are. Drivers pull over. Entire cities look upward in disbelief. Phones appear in every hand. Live streams flood the internet. News channels interrupt their broadcasts. Scientists around the world scramble to understand the impossible. Observatories immediately turn their telescopes toward the place where the sun should be. But they find only darkness.
no explosión, no debris.
No warning. The sun hasn't dimmed. It hasn't collapsed. It has simply vanished. For a brief moment, no one knows whether this is a natural event, a cosmic phenomenon, or something humanity cannot even begin to explain.
Then,
Exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds after the last sunlight reaches Earth, the universe delivers its second shock. Gravity arrives late, just as light does. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, changes in a gravitational field propagate at the speed of light. That means Earth continues following its familiar orbit until the sun's final gravitational influence reaches us. And then, without warning, that invisible tether is gone. For more than 4.5 billion years, our planet has been locked in an endless dance around the sun. Now that dance comes to an abrupt end. Earth no longer circles its star. Instead, it continues moving forward in a straight line at nearly 30 kilometers per second, about 67,000 miles per hour, the speed it was already traveling through space. The moon remains gravitationally bound to Earth. Our planet's own gravity is unchanged. The oceans do not suddenly drift into space. People are not thrown off the ground. From the surface, you wouldn't feel the moment it happens. But on a cosmic scale, everything has changed. The solar system instantly loses one of its planets. Earth is no longer a world orbiting a star. It becomes a frozen rogue planet, drifting endlessly through the darkness of interstellar space. There is no turning back. No second chance. No way to return. Humanity has just crossed a point of no return. Yet as catastrophic as this moment truly is, the darkness is only the beginning. Because the greatest threat isn't the absence of light. It's the disappearance of heat. And in just a few hours, the temperature of our world will begin its relentless fall. The first 24 hours. The first hour passes. Then the second. The sun doesn't return. At first, many people refuse to believe what's happening. Surely, this has to be an eclipse. A rare astronomical event. Some kind of massive storm. Anything but the impossible. But as the minutes turn into hours, reality becomes impossible to ignore. There is no sunrise, no sunlight breaking through the clouds, no bright horizon waiting in the east, only an endless, silent darkness. Across the globe, panic spreads at a speed no disaster in history has ever matched. Emergency broadcasts interrupt television and radio. Governments activate crisis response teams. Military forces are deployed to maintain order. Scientists hold emergency meetings with world leaders, desperately searching for answers that simply don't exist. No one has prepared for this, because no one ever imagined it could happen. Hospitals continue running. Power stations remain online. The internet still works. Satellites continue orbiting overhead. For a brief moment, modern civilization is still functioning, but everyone knows something is terribly wrong. The psychological impact is immediate. Human beings evolved under the cycle of day and night. For hundreds of thousands of years, every sunrise has told our brains that a new day has begun.
now,
That signal never comes. People begin losing their sense of time. Fear replaces routine. Parents try to comfort frightened children. Families gather together. Others desperately search for loved ones, uncertain whether they'll ever see another normal day again. The world has never felt so connected and so alone. 6 hours after the sun disappears, the temperature begins to fall. Not instantly. The Earth has spent billions of years absorbing heat from the sun. That enormous reserve doesn't vanish overnight. The atmosphere, the oceans, the land itself, all continue releasing the warmth they stored over countless ages. For a little while, that stored energy buys humanity precious time. But it isn't enough. As the hours pass, the warmth slowly escapes into space, and nothing replaces it. The process has already begun. By the 12th hour, the absence of daylight becomes almost unbearable. Every city remains locked in darkness. Streetlights illuminate roads that should be flooded with sunlight. Office buildings glow against a black sky. Entire skylines resemble scenes from another planet. People stop asking when morning will come. Instead, they begin asking a far more terrifying question. What if it never does? As the first day comes to an end, average temperatures across much of the planet have already fallen noticeably. The cooling is still gradual, but it is relentless. And every hour makes the next one colder. Meanwhile, an invisible catastrophe unfolds inside every forest, field, and garden on Earth. Photosynthesis has stopped. The process that allows plants to convert sunlight into energy has ended completely. At first, nothing appears different. The trees are still standing. The grass is still green. Crops still cover the fields. But beneath that familiar appearance, every plant on Earth has begun consuming its remaining energy reserves. The countdown has started. Without sunlight, no new energy enters the food chain. The foundation of nearly every ecosystem on Earth has been cut away. Humanity won't notice the consequences tomorrow,
Or even next week.
but they're already unavoidable. The crisis is no longer measured in hours. It will soon be measured in empty shelves, failed harvests, and impossible choices. Because while darkness was the first warning, hunger is coming next. 1 week later, 7 days have passed. By now, the world has accepted a terrifying truth. The sun isn't coming back. Hope has given way to survival. The routines of everyday life have disappeared. Now, every decision revolves around a single question. How do we stay alive? The temperature continues its relentless decline. Across much of the planet, it has fallen well below freezing. Winter coats are no longer enough. Every degree lost makes survival exponentially more difficult. Entire cities begin to change. The rush hour traffic is gone. Schools stand empty. Factories fall silent. Office buildings are abandoned. The streets that were once filled with life now echo with an unsettling silence. People no longer leave home unless they absolutely have to. Every trip outside carries real risk. And the cold is only getting worse. At first, electricity keeps civilization alive. Power plants continue generating energy. Homes remain heated. Hospitals continue operating. Communication networks are still online. For a brief moment, technology seems capable of holding the collapse at bay. But that illusion doesn't last. As temperatures continue falling, millions of people turn their heating systems to maximum capacity. Power demand surges to levels no electrical grid was ever designed to handle. One region after another begins experiencing blackouts. Entire neighborhoods disappear into darkness. Then entire cities. Without electricity, heating systems fail. Water pipes freeze. Communication becomes unreliable. The very technology that once protected civilization begins collapsing under the weight of the crisis. For millions of people, the loss of power is no longer an inconvenience. It's a death sentence. Meanwhile, the oceans are fighting their own battle. Unlike the land, water stores enormous amounts of heat. For a short time, coastal regions remain slightly warmer than the frozen continents inland. The oceans become Earth's last great thermal reservoir, but even they cannot hold on forever. Day after day, they continue surrendering their heat to the endless darkness of space. Nature is changing just as rapidly. Without sunlight, forests lose their rhythm. Birds stop singing. Migratory species become hopelessly disoriented. Insects vanish. Animals wander through unfamiliar darkness, unable to rely on instincts that evolved under the cycle of day and night. The planet's biological clock has stopped. Plants continue consuming the last of their stored energy. There are no new leaves, no new growth, no new harvests. The global food chain has begun to unravel. The consequences are still unfolding, but they are now irreversible. Around the world, governments begin rationing what remains:
Food.
fuel, medicine, clean water. Every nation faces the same impossible reality. There isn't enough for everyone. The global economy rapidly loses its meaning. Money can no longer create food. It cannot generate heat. It cannot restart a frozen power grid. For the first time in modern history, the world's most valuable resources are astonishingly simple: warmth, fuel, electricity, safe drinking water,
And time.
above all,
Time.
because every passing day brings humanity closer to conditions it was never meant to endure. Across the globe, people begin searching for places where the cold cannot easily reach them. Underground subway systems, abandoned mines, military bunkers, natural cave networks. Deep beneath the surface, the Earth still holds onto some of its ancient warmth. For many, those underground shelters become humanity's final refuge. Above ground, the planet grows quieter with each passing day. Below ground, a desperate struggle for survival has only just begun. But even beneath the Earth, one terrifying question refuses to disappear: how long can anyone survive when the entire planet is slowly turning to ice? Months have passed. The world has become almost unrecognizable. From space, Earth no longer looks like the vibrant blue planet we once called home. Instead, it appears pale, silent, wrapped in an ever-expanding shell of ice. Across much of the planet, average surface temperatures have plunged to around -70 degrees Celsius, or -94 degrees Fahrenheit. In many regions, they continue falling even lower. For anyone exposed to the surface without protection, survival is measured in minutes. The atmosphere still surrounds the planet. The air hasn't frozen solid, but every breath feels painfully cold. The familiar sounds of civilization have vanished. No traffic, no aircraft,
No birds.
only the occasional howl of icy winds sweeping across frozen landscapes. The oceans, once Earth's greatest source of warmth, have begun transforming as well. The freezing starts at the surface. Layer after layer of ice slowly spreads across the seas. From above, the planet looks as though it is being sealed beneath a giant white shell. Yet beneath that frozen crust, the story is surprisingly different. Water is an extraordinary insulator. As the ice thickens, it slows the escape of heat from the ocean below. Deep beneath the frozen surface, vast amounts of liquid water can continue existing for an incredibly long time. The deepest parts of the oceans remain dark, cold, but not entirely frozen. Even after months without sunlight, Earth is still carrying the last remnants of the warmth it stored over billions of years. Meanwhile, human civilization has retreated underground. The surface is no longer a place to live. It has become a place to endure. Survival now depends on locations where the planet itself still provides energy. Deep mines, underground transportation tunnels, purpose-built shelters, geothermal regions, where heat from Earth's interior continues rising toward the surface. In those places, warmth still exists. Electricity can still be generated. Water can still remain liquid. For the survivors, geothermal energy becomes one of humanity's most precious resources. It is no longer just an alternative energy source. It is the difference between life and extinction. But perhaps the greatest surprise lies far beneath the oceans. Around the world, hydrothermal vents continue releasing superheated water from deep within Earth's crust. These extraordinary environments have never depended on sunlight. Instead, entire ecosystems are powered by chemical energy. Specialized bacteria convert chemicals such as hydrogen sulfide into usable energy through a process known as chemosynthesis. Those microscopic organisms support worms, shrimp, crabs, mussels, and countless other deep-sea creatures. Long before the sun disappeared, these ecosystems had already proven that life doesn't always require sunlight. And even now, they continue to survive. It is one of the most astonishing discoveries in modern science. The disappearance of the sun would devastate Earth's surface, but it would not erase every form of life. Some organisms would continue living exactly where they have for millions of years, in complete darkness, far beneath the ice, far beyond the reach of sunlight. That realization changes everything. Human civilization may be collapsing, but life itself is proving far more resilient than we once believed. For the first time since the catastrophe began, a new possibility emerges. If nature can survive without the sun, could humanity learn to do the same? Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. You walk to the window, pull back the curtains, and watch the first rays of sunlight spill across the world. It's a moment so ordinary, most of us never stop to appreciate it. For more than 4.5 billion years, the sun has risen over Earth every single day. It has shaped our climate, powered every forest, fed every ocean, driven every ecosystem, and quietly sustained every civilization humanity has ever built. We rarely think about it, because it has never given us a reason to. The sun feels permanent, unchanging, guaranteed, but the universe has a way of reminding us that nothing lasts forever. The scenario you've just witnessed is extraordinarily unlikely. There is no scientific evidence suggesting that the sun could simply disappear overnight. In reality, our star is expected to remain stable for roughly another 5 billion years before it reaches the final stages of its life. Humanity isn't facing this catastrophe, and, barring something we don't yet understand, neither are countless future generations. But thought experiments like this reveal something important. They expose the invisible foundations of our existence, the things we almost never notice, until we imagine losing them. The warmth on your skin during a summer afternoon, the colors of a sunset, the sound of leaves glowing beneath golden morning light, the simple certainty that tomorrow, the sun will rise again. Those aren't just beautiful moments. They are gifts from a star nearly 150 million kilometers away. A star that asks for nothing, yet makes everything possible. Perhaps the greatest lesson isn't how fragile the sun is. It's how deeply our lives depend on something we rarely stop to appreciate. Every meal, every breath, every forest, every ocean, every heartbeat of civilization can be traced back to a single source of light. The next time you step outside at sunrise, or pause beneath the warmth of an ordinary afternoon, take a moment to look up, because somewhere in the vastness of the universe, there may be countless worlds that never had a star like ours. But we do, and that simple fact makes Earth one of the most extraordinary places we know. Thank you for watching. And if this journey changed the way you see our universe, there are many more extraordinary questions waiting to be explored. Until next time, keep looking up.